What we have is 6x to the 0 power, y to the 9th, and z to the negative 2, times negative 2, y to the negative 5th, and z to the negative 3rd power. So again, do be careful as you are copying this into your spiral. Sorry, that wasn't up. Be careful as you're copying that into your spiral. Make sure that you are getting those negative signs and stuff and writing the correct numbers. I know they're kind of small. So I'm going to start off doing a couple things. I'm going to first go through and circle anything that has a negative exponent. So in this case, we have z to the negative 2 power, y to the negative 5th, and again, z to the negative 3rd. The negative 2, that's a big number, doesn't count. You can have negative big numbers. That's okay. We're just looking at the negative exponents to circle them. Huh? The negative big number can stay on top. Yes, it gets to stay. So now I'm going to draw, because our negative exponents are going to flip. So in order to have a place to flip, I'm going to create my fraction. I'm going to draw a line underneath both of these sets of parentheses. And I'm also going to draw some arrows to remind myself that when I start listing this out, they're going to be in the denominator. So my z squared is going to be in the denominator. My y to the 5th and z to the 3rd. All of those are going to be dropping into a denominator when I write this again, when I expand it. So that's my next step. I'm going to go through and I'm going to try to expand this. So I'm going to write my first fraction. I had a 6 that's on top because there was no negative exponent. And here's the catch, the x to the 0 power. Anything to the 0 power becomes what? 1. So do I really need it there at all? No. Because if I did 6 times 1, that's just 6. So I actually get to just cross that guy off. Not important to this problem whatsoever. Disappears. All right, so then I keep going. I still have y to the 9th that would be on top, so I'm going to write out my 9 y's. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. Then I have my z. I circled it to tell myself I need to put it in a denominator. So I'm going to write my 2 z's in the denominator. The 2 parentheses meant that we were multiplying here, so I'm going to write my little multiplication symbol. And I'm going to set up my second fraction. So in my second fraction, again, that big negative 2 is fine. It gets to stay on top. It doesn't have to move. My y that I circled because of the negative exponent, I'm going to list out in the denominator. So I'd have 5 y's. And the z also had a negative exponent, so it's going to be listed in the denominator too. So I have those 3 z's in the denominator. Okay, so from here, when you multiply fractions, all you do is you multiply straight across, which essentially means this division line, your fraction line, is going to extend across. So at this point, before we rewrite, before we actually start multiplying, you can go ahead and start crossing things off. So I'm going to give you a minute and see what you can do. Okay, so final process here when you actually start crossing things off. Again, anything that's the same on top and bottom is going to cancel out because you're just extending that fraction line when you multiply. So on the bottom I have 5 y's and I have 5 on the top that I can cancel out. So I'm going to cross off 5 of them on top and 5 on the bottom. Okay, so now that I have things canceled out, I don't get to cancel out any z's because all my z's are in the denominator, so they all stay. Now I'm going to multiply this, I'm going to combine, I'm going to do my count. So on the top I have 6 times negative 2, which will give me a negative 12. And this again is on the top. Then if I count my y's, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 y's, so that'd be y to the 4th. They're currently on the top, so they're going to stay on the top. In the denominator, I have a z, so I'm going to write my z, and then I'm going to count how many are there in the denominator all the way across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is z to the 5th power. Since we only have that whole number up top, that negative 12, there's no whole number underneath. We can't divide anything, we can't reduce, so this would be our final answer. Negative 12 y to the 4th over z to the 5th.